This life is an opportunity. This life is an opportunity to just celebrate. We're not here to mourn, to groan, to complain, to criticize, to feel miserable, to feel sorry for ourselves, sorry for the rest of the world. We're just here to celebrate. And it is because we have a memory of our life in between death and birth, of bliss, of complete happiness, of a sense of being complete, of a sense of being purposeful. We kind of project that outwards. But because we go through our mind, we get caught in the opposites. We don't want any pain and we chase pleasure. And our entire life then becomes just this battle between running away from pain and chasing pleasure. And the sad part is the more you run away from pain, the more pleasure will elude you. It won't come. And the more you chase pleasure, the more pain you're going to feel. The opposites are completely complementary. They work in order to lift each other up. A lack of one brings an abundance of the other. Now we want to be somewhere in the middle. We don't want to live our lives too attached to pleasure. And we don't want to live our lives running away from pain all the time. All traumatic events in our lives cause a lot of pain in the body. A lot of sensations, a lot of common feelings. And if we don't deal with it, this becomes like permanently embedded in your subconscious. And at the slightest hint, slightest trigger, it's going to just rise up like a wave. And that's what Eckhart calls the pain body. It's almost as if it is an entity of its own. And what has happened in this world that we live in, people have started thinking of their pain body as their best friend. And started liking being a victim. They love to complain. They love to call a friend and say, oh, my life is terrible. Everything is just horrible. Things are really not good. I'm struggling to keep my job. It's been the hardest couple of weeks for me. This has been the entire pandemic has been so miserable for me. I love being miserable. I love my pain. I love my misery as if it's my best friend. Your pain is not your friend. Your pain is locking you in a dark place. If you want to celebrate your life, and it's not a grand celebration, we're not talking about balloons and champagne. We're talking about just living moment to moment. Just that. If you want to enjoy that, you have to resolve your pain body. You have to see that it's not your friend and reject it at every turn. And we do this in order to reach the mind, we go through the body. So doing physical exercise like yoga, or going for a walk in the morning, or doing a workout, or any other form of going for a bike ride, being out in nature, just seeing how life just sprouts naturally, and this is a beautiful time to be out. You go anywhere, there are beautiful flowers in bloom. Now the flowers don't say that, this terrible, I remember the last year when I had a storm, I'm not going to bloom anymore. Last year the storm just withered me away. I refused to bloom. They never say that. They just bloom because that is their nature. Your nature itself is to be happy. You are remembering something that doesn't exist, calling it your best friend, and then wondering why you don't feel as if the sun is shining and everything is beautiful and life is gorgeous. You're holding on to things that don't define you. We have such a narrow sense of who we are that you are willing to define yourself by that one event in your life that is not going right. I am a divorcee. I am a housewife, right? But you're not thinking of housewife in the terms of a homemaker. You're thinking about something as like, oh, useless because I can't find a job, I can't make any money. Any process that makes you feel less of a human being has to be rejected. I don't want this in my life. It has no place in my life. You move towards the light always. Look at sunflowers. No matter which way the sun is, it keeps moving towards the sun. It keeps showing its face towards the sun. Why? Because the light is what makes it look even more beautiful, grow bigger and beautiful, much more bright petals. It does not hide because last year there was a dust storm that covered its petals. It does not do that. Life is to be celebrated. It is your only opportunity. You only live this once. You only have this moment. You only have this moment. And if you are not happy now, were you even happy in the past? Are you going to be happy in the future? You've got to do whatever it takes to reject your pain. Do not attach yourself to it. Celebrate each day. Not with a glass of wine or a glass of champagne. People, even when they drink, when they have celebrations, I always wonder what it is that makes people want to drink till they're completely drunk on New Year's Eve. And then they cannot even wake up on the morning of New Year's Day because they're so hungover, they've got a headache. And what does that mean for the rest of the year? I always found it extremely difficult to understand this because I personally don't drink. Right? I feel like it just, one drink, a glass of wine with a meal is one thing. But to completely obliterate everything outside, and it comes, because all these activities are a sense of trying to just lose this world, to fuse into into yourself, to collapse into yourself. And when the world seems to be, very painful or very difficult to go through, there is this need to collapse into oneself. And that's how people do other things, they do things like bungee jumping. Because they get so close to death and then they become okay. So when they drink, it's like everything becomes, the whole world dissolves. So it's a chasing of pleasure, but once the drink has worn off, the pain hits you hard. Hits you hard. We all want to lose ourselves in us, to find that self, but we just don't know how to. We just don't know which way to turn, and that's why at some point in our life you're going to find a guru, you're going to find a teacher to show you the way. It's like getting a GPS. A guru or a teacher shows you the road to yourself, the road back to where you belong, to your source. Why? Because he or she has seen it or been there and can tell you, take the second right turn, then go left, and then when you see the tree, then you take the fork that goes to the right. They point to certain directions. But the journey is your own. You begin with the body to deal with the mind. You begin with the body to deal with the mind. Practices of breathing and meditation are invaluable. If you are feeling dull, if you're feeling unmotivated, not ready to do anything, you do the breathing for 10 minutes and your body gets fooled into thinking that you're fine. Because automatically prana gets reversed. The down feeling of prana, the dejection and the inertia and the disillusionment gets reversed, and it sparks up. It brings subtle energy higher and higher in your chakras. So that's how you begin. You don't miss your breathing, not even for a day. Not even for a day. You do it, and when you're feeling dark, when you're feeling down, when you feel like life is not a celebration, you do it twice, you do it 3 times, you do it 5. You trust the process. You trust the process that I will be, at the end of it, I will be energetic. Why do people get hooked onto exercise? Which is a much better outlet to feel life as a celebration rather than, dissolving yourself in drink or drugs. When you go for a run or you exercise and you sweat profusely, and then you take that shower, there is a release of endorphins in your body. Endorphins and serotonin only enter your body when you have a sense of goodwill. Everything is good. In order to make it start working again in your body, in order to make you feel that spark of enthusiasm, you have to exercise vigorously. Vigorously till you're sweating, till your heart rate has gone up double. You can't just work. You can't just do one activity. It has to be all of it. Good nutrition, good food, breathing and meditation, and plenty of exercise. 3-4 times a week, get out there in nature, look at everything around you. See that life itself is such a celebration. Especially now when you go out in spring, you see all these flowers everywhere. Trees are in bloom, everything looks so gorgeous. And you say, if nature is smiling, if everything in nature is blooming, what are you? You are a creature of nature. You're not somebody put here by some other force from some other planet. You are just born out of nature. Nothing else. It is in your nature to bloom. It is in your nature to bloom. Everything is perspective, everything is attitude. Just be happy. Just be happy. And if you can't, fool yourself, look at the mirror like that, look into the mirror and just laugh. Laugh crazily. And fool your body into thinking you're happy. And once your body starts a process, the mind responds. How do you think we meditate? We meditate by using the body to relax the mind. Don't we do that? We first relax the body and automatically we notice that the mind is relaxing. Body, mind are totally connected. They belong to you, but you are not either the body or the mind. You are not the breath, you are not the body, you are not the mind. But you use all of this to celebrate life. Om Namah Shivaya.